Hey everyone, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're building a really strong conceptual foundation before you tackle your full reading assignment on digital transformation. If you've ever wondered how the tech we use every single day actually reshapes the world around us, well, you're absolutely in the right place. We're going to unpack the hidden mechanics behind our digital lives. Here's our agenda for today. Basically, a guided reading map for the concepts we're about to explore. We'll define digital transformation, look at redesigning workflows, check out a healthcare case study, break down cloud, e-commerce, and AI, talk about data, and then wrap up by weighing the benefits and risks. Simple enough, right? Let's get going.
Starting off with part 1, defining digital transformation. And honestly, we need to bust a really common beginner myth right out of the gate.
So, digital transformation is not just buying fancy new software. It's definitely not just taking a paper form and slapping it onto a screen. It's a fundamental redesign of how work actually gets done. The whole goal is to make things faster, easier to manage, or just way more useful for people. Think about your college moving from those old-school paper registration forms to a slick online student portal. That new tech doesn't just replace the paper. It completely overhauls the entire process. Suddenly, you can register, pay your fees, check financial aid, and look at your grades all in one connected place. It's a total game changer.
Moving into Section 2, redesigning everyday workflows. Let's see how these operational shifts actually play out in our day-to-day lives.
Okay, so a workflow is simply a sequence of steps used to complete a task. Digital transformation redesigns those steps so information flows way more efficiently between people and systems. A super common misunderstanding is thinking that the digital version is just a copy-paste of the old way. But really, it almost always alters how the whole thing functions from start to finish.
This is one of my favorite examples because it brilliantly illustrates the concept. Think about turning in a physical paper assignment in class versus submitting a file through Canvas. It completely transforms the workflow. With the traditional process, you literally hand in a stack of paper. But when that's digitally transformed, the timestamp, the grading, the professor's feedback, and the permanent record keeping, all of that becomes automated and interconnected.
All right, Section 3, the healthcare portal case study. Let's ground this idea even further with a specific example from your text.
So, moving a clinic from a paper calendar to an online patient portal obviously brings a ton of convenience. But here's the catch. It also creates massive new responsibilities. Before, patients just called during office hours. Now, they're requesting appointments online and getting instant text reminders. But this isn't just a simple tech upgrade, right? It fundamentally shifts what the clinic has to worry about. Now they have to actively defend sensitive patient data from cyber threats, they have to train their staff on new software, and they absolutely must ensure the portal is accessible to users with disabilities. It changes the entire expectation of the service.
Let's dive into Section 4, cloud, e-commerce, and AI. This is where we look at the core technologies actually driving all these changes. Think of cloud computing as the physical infrastructure, kind of like the roads and utilities, that allows e-commerce to function and artificial intelligence to do its thing. The cloud lets organizations use massive internet resources instead of relying on a single clunky local server. Then you have e-commerce, which is the actual business activity happening on those digital roads, stuff like processing payments or managing inventory. And AI? AI is there to automate tasks, spot patterns, and make predictions, like flagging a fraudulent charge or recommending a product. Just keep in mind, AI systems aren't perfect. They can make mistakes or even reflect human bias, so having real people review things is absolutely crucial.
Which brings us to Section 5, data, the connecting link. This is the connective tissue holding this entire digital engine together.
The big takeaway here is that data is the ultimate link. It connects all these completely distinct digital systems. The cloud stores the data, e-commerce systems collect it from customers, and AI uses it to find patterns. Because it connects literally everything, the quality of that data matters immensely. If your information is incomplete, outdated, or poorly protected, the whole system can start spitting out bad or even harmful results.
Let's trace a super simple online shopping trip. You search for headphones, you pay through an e-commerce platform, the cloud securely stores your order, and boom, AI instantly recommends a matching headphone case. As a customer, you're just looking at a simple, pretty screen. But behind the scenes, data is flying rapidly through several complex systems to make that seamless experience happen. It's like a giant invisible puzzle clicking into place.
Now, because data is so incredibly powerful, organizations have to practice something called data minimization. This means avoiding the urge to collect extra personal info just because they can. Gathering more data than you actually need skyrockets privacy and security risks.
A service simply shouldn't ask for extra personal details if they aren't directly required to complete the task.
What's really fascinating here is how different settings require completely unique approaches to data privacy. A school keeping track of your grades has a very different set of worries than a bank looking out for fraud, or a hospital locking down sensitive test results. Every single organization has to tailor its security controls to the specific kind of data it's handling. There's no one-size-fits-all here.
And that leads us to our final section, Section 6, Weighing Benefits and Risks. We really need to look at the double-edged sword of digital transformation. When we compare massive benefits, like scalability, against critical risks, like vendor outages, it's a stark reminder that speed isn't automatically better if you aren't planning responsibly. Sure, digital transformation gives us incredible efficiency. Scalability means a college registration system doesn't crash when thousands of students log in at once. But what if the outside vendor supplying that cloud software goes down? You absolutely need a backup plan. What if an automated decision gets it wrong? You need human review. These risks don't mean we should run away from digital tools. They just mean we have to be smart and responsible about how we use them.
Your text brings up a really crucial point here. It notes that useful data can easily become sensitive data. Responsible digital systems should limit unnecessary data collection, protect sensitive information, and give access only to the people who truly need it. Think about it. A student record or a customer order is totally necessary for a service to run. But if that info is exposed to the wrong people, that causes real, tangible harm.
So, as you head into your full reading assignment, I want you to keep this final provocative question in the back of your mind. Who actually benefits when a service goes digital, and who might be left behind? When we automate a workflow or push a service entirely online, we have to consider the folks who might have limited internet access, older devices, or disabilities. A truly responsible approach to digital transformation looks at how these changes affect people, not just the tech systems. All right, enjoy your reading and tackle the text with this strong, critical foundation. You've got this.